welcome everyone. Welcome back if you were here yesterday, and welcome again if this is your first time watching this presentation, and I hope you find the audio fascinating. I'm sure you will. My name is Michael Mills. I'm one of the founders of Business Design Corporation and Touchstone Business Systems. Today's presentation is on how, over the years, the process of selling has changed, how the old way doesn't work very well, and as a result, it's full of inefficient effort. And there's a new way, and if it's done well, it can generate this unlimited flow of qualified prospects reaching out to you. It's really the goose that lays the golden egg. And best of all, so much of these of this new system, this process can happen with little or no effort. It essentially can be automated. So I've invited Dave Sherman, one of the senior managers at Infusionsoft, to be with us today. Dave is a professional speaker. He's a trainer. He's an author of 3 best-selling business books. He works with companies like American Express, Southwest Airlines, Toyota, Wells Fargo. He also specializes in training and coaching small businesses, so don't be intimidated by his work with great, huge businesses. His specialty is training and coaching small businesses on mastering the art of marketing. Dave is the Partner Development Manager at Infusionsoft, and Infusionsoft is a software application that helps you nurture, develop, and convert new leads, as well as maximize new business from existing customers automatically. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is about automating the sales process, this new sales process, and one of the tools with which you can do that is Infusionsoft. So thanks for being with us today, Dave. You want to say hello?
Most certainly. Hello, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks very much for the opportunity, Michael.
I'll hand it back to Dave in a moment. Most of you know us because of Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth Revisited, Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. As you know, the E-Myth theory is all about implementing documented operating procedures to ensure a consistent and reliable result. And our company, Business Design Corporation, we were a group of master certified E-Myth consultants for 17 years. But what we found while delivering the E-Myth program was that while the E-Myth theory was absolutely bang on, most of our clients were still not creating and implementing procedures. So what we ended up doing was delivering the ability to actually implement the theory, essentially putting E-Myth theory into action. We believe that training, process implementation, management of these processes and job descriptions are critical factors for succeeding in business. If everything depends on you to drive leads and convert sales, then your ability to grow the company will be limited by you. You will effectively end up being in the way of your company's ability to grow. So you need tools like Infusionsoft, for example, to help you automate the sales process, as well as a tool like Touchstone to help you train, implement, and manage your procedures. So my goal today is for Dave and I to present to you a theory and a method that you can use to increase sales in your business, and to be able to set it up in such a way that you have documented systems that are easily implemented to create consistent and reliable results. At Business Design Corporation, we use both the Touchstone tool as well as Infusionsoft, and what we're going to do today is Dave takes us through the presentation. I will be providing examples of how we do it here, just to give you real live examples of the 7 steps that we're going to talk about. And at the end of today's call, Infusionsoft has some incredible offers for any of you who want to take them up on it, like I did. And in addition, I'll make any of the systems I speak about available to you, and then you can add them to your own Infusionsoft account and edit them for yourself. First, I want to do my shameless plug. For those of you who are not Touchstone users or have never heard of Touchstone, Touchstone is a web-based application that makes it easy to systematize your business. It provides a platform with which to consistently build, organize, and store your operating procedures, and make it easy to access them for implementation or for innovation. In short, Touchstone is a tool that helps you create a process-dependent business so you can grow your business quickly and efficiently and achieve consistent and reliable results without the chaos and the overwhelm that's usually associated with rapid or even moderate growth. So I want to start with a story. And any of you on the call who are in your mid-40s or older and have been involved in sales, you will connect with what I'm about to share on how it used to be. I started selling for my father's company in the early 1970s. And how I got people started in our sales process was through building a relationship. Most of the new prospects I met with, they weren't ready to engage in our sales process. They were not what I would consider to be hot leads. They just didn't need what I had at that moment, which was fine. It's what I expected. My goal was to develop a relationship with the prospect, to earn the opportunity to build the trust that was necessary to develop a long-term loyal client. But back then, selling was all about creating a relationship with your prospects from beginning to end. I would walk into a prospect's office and introduce myself. There would be little, if any, trust at that first meeting. I mean, I'd probably say they distrusted me. I mean, after all, I was obviously a salesman. But the key point is the prospect had time to see me. It was different then. There was no internet. There was no such thing as email. There were beepers, remember them? But no one had cell phones. There were fewer distractions. Most prospects bought from you because they liked you and they trusted you. And the goal was to develop that trust and deliver on the promise, and it was almost always done through face-to-face ongoing interactions. Well, that's just no longer the case. The sales process has changed. Your prospects simply do not have the luxury of time. They are, for the large part, consumed, and they need to speak to an expert right now, someone who can solve their problem. Today, the attitude of most prospects is, I don't want to be bothered by a sales rep until I'm ready. I want to be able to browse your information. That might be your website, it might be your blog, but I want to see what you can do for me, and I want that to happen anonymously. And I'm willing to give up my anonymity if I can get something for it, but it needs to be worth it. I mean, you can probably hear yourself saying this, right? It's still important to create the relationship, and it's still important to deliver on the promise, but before you have that chance, you need to prove to them that you're the expert. You need to deliver content that addresses their needs, that answers their problems. You need to keep your company's name in their mind so that when they're closer to making a buying decision, they remember to contact you. We call this top-of-mind awareness. Then they'll contact you, or they'll take a call from you if you call them, and then you'll have the chance to create the relationship. You can deliver on the promise and build the trust. So the difference then is in the timing of the process of personal relationship building. Studies show that it takes 7 touches or more before a prospect is really ready to make a buying decision. And while the personal face-to-face touch is nice, it's just not always welcome because your prospect is too busy. And it's usually not necessary because so much business today is just done over the internet and done through email. Most of those 7 touches and more can be automated and done in a personal, professional, and in big capital letters, consistent way without costing you a great deal of expense. So how do you do that? How do you do it in such a way that you can expect a reliable flow of qualified prospects without consuming all of your time generating them and developing them? Well, you can do it automatically. You can automate this process in such a way that you can achieve consistency. So there's a very subtle difference here, but an incredibly important one from the old way to the new way. Essentially, we're going to split the sales process into 7 steps and 3 key phases. So the 7 steps that need to be automated. In this first phase, you need to attract traffic, capture the information, and then nurture these new leads with communications that address their specific needs. The topics that keep you top of mind in their awareness and makes you the expert in the field. So I like to call this lead generation and lead development, or the first phase of the selling process, the 7 steps. Then you have to convert these qualified prospects into new clients. You need to deliver on the promise made during the sales process what we'll call sales conversion. And finally, the third phase, you need to create an experience for your client that goes beyond what they expected, what we'll call client loyalty. And Dave is going to take us through these 7 steps in detail. As Dave goes through the steps, I'll have some examples for you on how we do it here at Business Design Corporation. So Dave, do you want to take over? Let me just make you the presenter.
That's great. Michael, thanks very much for turning it back over to me. Folks, thanks very much for being here today. Just want to give you just a quick heads up. I am working in my office, and my office is in the middle of a lot of other offices, and considering it is the last day of the month, things here at Infusionsoft get a little bit loud and crazy at times. So if you hear anything in the background, it's just stuff going on in my office, and I apologize for that, but I will try to limit that as much as possible. You know, as Michael had said, you know, he had mentioned Infusionsoft in the past, you know, in his presentation. And I just kind of want to give you a very little background on, you know, who we are and what we do, things such as that. But I try to make it in a, you know, as much of a nutshell as possible. You know, people say, oh, Infusionsoft, you do an all-in-one sales marketing software. Yes, that's what we produce. But bottom line is what we really do is we help small businesses succeed. One of the coolest things about this company is 75% of the people that work here either have small business experience or currently own their own small business, myself included. So the people that are here know what you folks are going through. They understand. You know, we understand the trials and tribulations you put up with as a small business owner, and this is what we do every single day, is to try to come up with ways to make your life easier and to help your small business succeed. We have been a small business partner for a very long time. We've been named a top small business marketing software by Software Magazine. We are the 10th fastest growing software company in America by Inc.com. We have been listed on Inc.'s 500,000 list for the past 6 years, and we have been named in such reputable publications as Forbes, Entrepreneur, Wall Street Journal, Business Week, Fast Company, and so many more. So let's dive right into this, because I am willing to guess you didn't come on this call to hear me yak about why Infusionsoft is so great. We'll have time for that at another point. My goal here is to provide you with information that I will pretty much guarantee you will make your business more successful. And what I want to focus on for the rest of my time on this presentation is something called lifecycle marketing. Lifecycle marketing, as Michael had pointed out earlier, is 7 steps. Okay, very simple. Attract traffic, capture leads, nurture prospects, convert sales, deliver and satisfy, upsell your customers, and get referrals. As you're looking at these 7 phases, imagine what your business would be like if you could master all 7 of these. Imagine the freedom. Imagine the pride. Imagine the success that you would experience if you had the ability to be able to not only do these 7 phases, but do them extremely well. Well, my goal here is to go over each one of these and to explain what each one of them represents and how you can do it better. And the best part about, you know, doing this with Michael is Michael's going to be able to bring some real life experience into this and give some examples on what he thinks you can do to be able to reach these 7 phases of lifecycle marketing. So let's dive right into this. The first step of lifecycle marketing is you need to attract traffic. I don't care whether you have an online business, whether you have a brick and mortar business. It really doesn't matter. If you don't attract traffic to your business, you don't have much of a business. So how do you do that? You can do traditional advertising. You could do print. You could do radio. You could do television. You can hire a blimp. You could, I mean, obviously there's millions of ways that you can, you know, get your information across there. Then there's online ways. You can do online marketing, you could do SEO, you could do email marketing, you could do pay-per-click. There's so many things that you could do to attract traffic. And as I said, this is online and offline. But the challenge that most of you face is it's not what you're trying to do. You know, you're trying to attract the traffic, but what you're doing is what you're putting out there to attract the traffic isn't doing the job well enough. So what you have to start to think about is what is your lead magnet? What is that thing that's going to draw people into your business, draw people to your website, draw people to your blog? What are those things that's going to make somebody say to themselves, that I could use? Let me give you a few examples of what I'm talking about. Here's a couple of examples of some educational magnets that you can use. So say, for instance, if you look at some of these, you could basically break this down by common mistakes people make or frustrations or underlying goals or things that people are curious about. But say, for instance, say you own a business that sells child safety things, child safety equipment, where you can, latch cabinets and, put gates up and things such as that. If you put, something out online that says, child safety tools, learn more here, you might look at that and go, oh, that's interesting. But if you then put on there 3 mistakes people make that are endangering their children every day. If you're a parent and you have a young child, are you going to read that? Probably. Or putting on there 3 mistakes when securing your house from your children. 3 mistakes people make when securing their house from your children. If you're trying to secure your house from your young children, you're going to read that? Probably. So you have to come up with a great educational magnet that's going to draw people in. Michael, can you give us an idea of some of your thoughts on what you could do with educational magnets and just your thought on the idea of drawing these magnets in?
Yeah, Dave, attract and lead magnet, they're such great words, I think, because it gets you thinking about the needs and the wants of your client base. So the lead magnet that we offer is the ability to systematize your business. I mentioned a moment ago that we were EMIS mastery consultants, and people weren't actually getting their business systematized. So we deliver this actionable tool that they can use to systematize their business. So when you're thinking about this attraction, you want to think about something that your prospects can connect with, such that they can actually do something. They will do something like click a link. So we offer this very actionable way to use what they learned in their EMIS program or what they read in the EMIS book. They can actually put what they're learning into action. So yeah, that's what we do. I just want to offer one other thing out there, and that is, as Dave's going through this presentation, use Dave's presentation as a template to invent or to evaluate or to innovate your sales process. That's what I did. I took Dave's presentation. I took my sales system and I broke it up into 7 phases, 7 steps, and I just started asking myself these questions. So as Dave's giving you this thing, either do it later or do it now on the call, but use this opportunity to start innovating or evaluating your sales process. But that's what it was for me, Dave. It was this lead magnet was the ability to actually systematize their business.
And that's really what we're trying to do, is to be able to get to a point where you systematize your entire business, because it makes it so much easier to run, and we're going to talk about that in further steps. So that's the first step, is attracting traffic. Now, the next step is capturing leads, because most of you think, ooh, all I have to do is attract traffic and I got them. Well, that's fine if everybody buys from you the moment they come in and you never want to hear from them again, or you never want to contact them again. I'm assuming all of you want to be able to connect with these people, at future times, so you need to be able to capture the leads. But the problem is imagine all of you having a big stream behind the back of your house. And in this stream, it is just filled with trout, these gorgeous rainbow trout. And say you're saying to yourself, well, I'm kind of hungry. I'd like trout for dinner tonight. So you go down to the stream and you want to catch some trout. So there's so many trout, all you have to do is take a net and just stick it in the water, and the trout will come into your net, and you'll have all the trout you need. But the problem is, at the bottom of your net, there's a gigantic hole in it. So you've got trout going in through the front of your net and swimming right out the back. Most of you are the exact same way when it comes to capturing leads. You have people walking in your business. You have people visiting your website. They look around, they read some stuff, they look at some of your items, and then they walk back out without any of you getting any information from them. You need to come up with a way to be able to capture these leads. Now, let me ask this. I am assuming a lot of you do have something like this on your website. Ooh, subscribe to our newsletter. Well, I'll ask this question again because it's one of my favorites. When was the last time you woke up and said, you know, today I need to join another newsletter? My guess is it was probably sometime in the early 2000s when newsletters were really becoming popular. I don't know about the rest of you. I get more newsletters than I want. I get more newsletters than I know what to do with. I cancel more newsletters every day than you can imagine. So if you have this little box that says subscribe to our newsletter and you think this is the way you're going to get these people to sign up, you're not. You've got to come up with more creative ways to do this. Let me give you a couple of examples on things you could do on how to capture these leads and filling those gaps in your pipeline. You can offer special offers to your web visitors. For instance, here's one of our clients, Jump Athletic. If you provide them with your name and your email address and your phone number and things such as that, they will give you a certificate for a free class. So they're giving you a free offer. You know, I'm sure you've seen this. Hey, give us your name and your email address, and we'll send you a coupon to save X amount of dollars on your next purchase. So you can offer special offers to your web visitors. You can also have an online lead capture form. Ask them for this information. Now, obviously, this needs to be tied in to some sort of lead magnet or a reason why they're doing this. Like one of the examples on here is you can use this for walk-ins, phone calls, or trade show visitors. Any of you that ever do trade shows, a lot of times they'll give away a computer, or they'll give away an iPad, or they'll give away a phone. And all you have to do is provide them with your name and your email address. But regardless, you've got to come up with a way to be able to capture this information, because if these people walk out without you getting this information, it's just like another trout swimming right through the bottom of your net. The last part of this is your business card strategy. How many of you on this call can look at their desks and tell me that there is not at least a half a dozen business cards in a nice neat pile or strewn all over your desk that you just haven't gotten to yet? I'm willing to guess if you say there isn't, most of you are lying. Because if you're a small business person that's always out looking for business, you're going to have business cards around. If you don't have a strategy on how to use them and how to capture that information and provide these people with information, why are you collecting the business cards in the first place? So make sure you come up with a good business card strategy so you know what to do with these. Here's a couple of examples of some of the customers that we work with. Here's one called Sephora. Now this one's really fancy schmancy. If you put your email address in that box, that little wheel spins and you get to win something for free, or you get, a discount, or you get free shipping or something such as that. Here's one that we use in Infusionsoft, where if you provide us with the information in this box, first name, last name, email address, postal code, because we like to know what part of the world you're in, we will provide you with free access to our Small Business Success Club. Now, people are saying, well, what's the big deal? This Small Business Success Club has videos and white papers and so much content for people in the small business world that, of course, they are willing to provide us with this information because they are getting so much return for it. That's what you really need to look at, is what are you willing to trade for their contact information? What are you willing to give them for them to say, sure, I'll give you my name and email address. Michael, what are some of the things that you do to capture leads? What are some of the suggestions you might have?
Well, one is the business systemization kit. That's what our pay-per-click ad offers. We talk about actually putting Gerber's theory into practice. So when someone clicks the ad, they go to a landing page which offers just that, and there's a video on there. We make it very easy to begin that relationship with us. We only ask for their first name, their email address, so that we can begin the relationships. Because people, they're hesitant to give that information away. So we make it very easy, but they put that information in, and then they get this opportunity to download their business systemization kit. We do ask one demographic question. We want to find out who these people are. How big a business? Are they a consultant looking for tools? So we ask them, and it's not required, but we ask them to put that information in. Now, and you also mentioned the newsletter. We do offer a newsletter, but it's after we've captured the lead. So they've come in and they've been interested, and then after we've captured the lead, we say, hey, are you on our newsletter list? Do you want that?
Right.
We've got good stuff here.
Yeah, because then they're interested in learning more information.
Yeah.
But at least people are starting to understand the importance of capturing these leads, because it just makes it a lot easier for them. But here's the thing you have to remember. Here's one of the biggest mistakes people make. Just because you developed a lead doesn't mean you've earned the right to sell to them. Here's what happens most of the time. Most people will capture a lead and they'll go, oh my gosh, I got a lead. Let's sell, 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 sell. It's the last thing you want to be doing, because I'm sure that there are going to be certain people that are going to see your product or service and want to buy it like that. Most people don't. So what I'm about to share with you folks is what I believe is the missing link to successful business, and that is nurturing your prospects. When somebody comes to your store, when somebody comes to your website, when somebody comes to your shopping cart, when somebody comes to your blog, when somebody comes to a landing page, if they decide that they don't want to buy your product or service, what do you do next? Because here's what happens, and here's the challenge. And Michael, you mentioned some of this already, so I'm going to go through this a little quicker. The why behind nurturing is that over 80% of sales happen after 7 or more contacts. The problem this number causes is that 85% of the time, most people stop after 1 to 2 contacts. Tell me if this kind of sounds familiar to you. You go and, you meet somebody at a trade show and they say, yes, I'm interested in your product or service, and you get their business card. You go to your office and the next day you call them and they don't respond back. Then a couple of days after that, you send them an email and they don't respond back. And maybe a couple of days after that, you call them again and they don't respond back. You immediately think, oh, they're not interested, and you stop following up with these people. Did you ever think the possibility that they might be busy? Any of you on this call, I am got to assume that you are unbelievably busy every single day. I only know what my life is like. I know what my business is like. I know what my job is like. It never fails. It's not like I'm sitting here going, what am I going to do today? We are very busy people. So what you're doing is you're stopping after these 1 or 2 contacts, and let me show you what the cost of this is. Say, for instance, you do a direct mail campaign or a coupon campaign, or you do an email campaign, and you send it out to 10,000 people. And out of those 10,000, with a special offer, and out of those 10,000 people, you have 100 people that are saying, yes, I'm interested. Not I'm ready to buy, but yes, I'm interested. Out of those 100 people, 10 customers buy. Now, some of you are on this call going, holy cow, if I got 10 customers out of this, I'd be happy as a clam. You don't have to, you can stop talking. I don't need anything else. But wait. Before you dash off counting the money that you earn from those 10 customers, let's talk about the other 90 responders. You only close 10. What happens to the other 90? They either fall through the cracks, they have zero follow-up. You're actually driving them to your competitors. How do you like that idea? That there are those of you out there spending hard-earned marketing dollars to drive your customers, your responders, to your competitors. In other words, all of these responders go into the trash. This is your cost of not nurturing. Now let's look at the benefit of nurturing. So let's take the same 10,000 audience, the same 100 responders, the same 10 customers. But let's say out of those 100 responders, you could pick up another 5 sales, or maybe 10 sales, or maybe 15 sales. So instead of closing 10%, imagine closing 25%. Think about this for a second. Let this sink in. Imagine you being able to go from a 10% close rate to a 25% close rate. If my math skills are working, that's a 150% increase. What could this mean to your business? What could this extra revenue mean to your business? What could all of this do for you? This is the benefit of nurturing. So the question, Michael and I, Michael, you and I have talked about this. How many more sales would you close each month with great nurturing? Michael, give them some thought. Give them some of your thoughts on your idea of nurturing, because I know this is a huge component for you.
The stress of selling starts to go away, because if you've got this nurturing process and it's automated, then the process doesn't depend on you doing it. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've actually sold something when I've gone out for a walk with my wife and my dog.
Right. Sure.
So in our world, we have a different, I might use the word automated sequences. What I mean when I use the word automated sequences, that's just a term I use, but it's really just a set of follow-up steps, a lot of emails, some other things, but it starts and continues automatically. So I might refer to it as an automated sequence. But we have automated sequences that depend on how the lead answers the demographic question on that answering page when we talked about it in capturing leads. So how we follow up with them corresponds directly to who they are. So the size of business they are determines their needs. And so we have a sequence for startups. We have a sequence for companies who are doing less than $1 million, a sequence who are doing more than $1 million, a sequence of steps for consultants who are looking for a tool like Touchstone to use with their clients. The first step is an email from me that happens a day after the lead downloads our book. And the email is very basic. It looks like I've made the effort to notice that they actually downloaded the book and then made the effort to contact the lead. And in the email, I'm inviting the lead to share more of their contact information with me. If they choose to, they don't have to. About 10% of them do. The rest, there's no reply, and those ones, they get another series of emails, relevant information that keeps them interested. It's really good content that they're interested in, and a lot of them buy. So in this nurturing prospect, some people will simply buy. We're coming up to that in a moment, but the nurturing keeps them active in your sales process.
Yeah, and that, it's funny, you made a very good point in the beginning where, people are constantly saying to me, Dave, how do I fill my pipeline? It's not really a matter of filling your pipeline, it's moving them through it.
Yeah.
Filling them goes back to the attracting the traffic and the capturing the lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is most of these people, if they don't buy immediately, they immediately give up on them. That's how you make your pipeline full, is by being able to nurture these prospects.
Yeah, and Dave, can I just add that when your pipeline is really full, you get completely stressed because if it all depends on you, you just have more work to do. But if you've got the nurturing process, the nurturing is taking care of your pipeline.
Exactly right. So the next step of this is converting sales. Now, I got to assume the majority of you on this call are sitting there saying to yourselves, Dave, spent a lot of time on converting sales. We really need help on converting sales. Dave, tell me everything you can about converting sales. Well, I'm going to apologize right up front because I'm going to spend the least amount of time on this section, because if you attract traffic, if you capture leads, if you nurture the prospects, you are going to make it's going to make it a lot easier for you to convert these sales. But don't despair, I've got some tips for you. Here's some steps on how to convert more sales. Have better magnets and better education. So instead of saying to somebody, hey, come visit my website, hey, come to my store, give them a reason. Say for instance, you own say your business does wills. You specialize in doing wills. If, instead of saying, hey, come see my will website, boy, isn't that exciting? Or you could say something like, the 3 biggest mistakes adults make, the 3 biggest problems kids deal with in regards to their parents' will. Are you going to read that? Of course you will if you're in the market for a will. So make sure you come up with good magnets in education. Create great nurturing. I think we've kind of beat this horse to death already, so we're just going to move on from that. But nurturing is vitally important. You need to have great targets. Yesterday, Michael, you and I talked about the importance of targeting and really knowing who your market is, and I'll give you a second I'm going to get your input on that in a second. But you have to have a really clear indication of who you're going after. I know people that'll say, I know chiropractors, makes me crazy. I'll say, who's a good client for you? And their response is anyone with a spine. Or dentists will say, anyone with teeth. Or an auto mechanic will say anyone with a car. That's not a target. That's the world at large. You need to come up with great ways to target who your clients are. But last, the easiest suggestion I can give you is if you really want to convert more sales, have better qualified prospects. Give you a really quick example that I've used for years because it probably was one of the most eye-opening pieces of advice I ever received. I used to sell advertising for a newspaper here in Phoenix probably 25 years ago. And I remember when I started at the job, I had this list of all these companies I wanted to go sell advertising to. And I showed it to my sales manager, and he takes a pen and he crosses out probably 80% of them. And I'm going, why are you crossing these out? And he goes, because these people don't advertise. I'm going, yeah, I know. I want to sell them advertising. And he told me this. He said, you want to sell more advertising? I said, of course. And he goes, sell to people that are already advertising. And I thought about it for a second. I said, that's brilliant. Because if I'm selling to somebody who's not advertising, I have to sell them on the idea of advertising, and then I have to sell them on our newspaper. But if I'm already talking to somebody that is already spending money on advertising, that's already taken care of. So if you want to convert more sales, come up with better qualified prospects. Michael, what are your thoughts on this?
It's so important. Now, I'll give you another story, an example. We were working with a client that sold telephone equipment, and they were struggling. I mean, this was a company that was doing $5 or $6 million in sales, but they couldn't even make payroll. I mean, they were generating a lot of revenue, but it was very, very expensive to do that. We sat down and we went through their invoices, and we started looking at some of these deals they were doing were like $150,000, $200,000, and then they had other deals that were like $1,800, $900, $150, and I sort of looked at them and I said, what's the difference between these two sales? And the same amount of effort would go into a $1,200 sale as the amount of effort that went into a $200,000 sale. And they just started firing some customers and really targeting their market. And within about 6 months, we helped them increase their net profit by about 8 points. They went from nothing up to about 18%. So it was pretty remarkable. I love your idea about requests and education, Dave. One of the things that we do that converts sales is we send out tutorials on, for example, how to write a system. People don't know how to write a system, so we send out a tutorial with a video and a sample system. We send out videos on how to build an organization chart and why an organization chart is so important. We send out tutorials on how to get your employees to follow processes that you write. So these are common complaints that people have in their business that we know happens because we've worked with them so often, so we create these tutorials and these messages. One other thing I do want to add is that we also, it's not just email, we create a task for a sales consultant to follow up with these business owners, because the experience of business systemization, you know, they're challenged by it, and so we want to listen to them. So we go into what are their pain points, what are their frustrations. We want to gather this information, and what we end up having is a different applications where there's a right fit, and then we make it very easy for them to begin the sales process. Right. They want to get started, so we get them started.
Exactly, and that's what you really want to do. And the goal of all of this is to just make it easier and replicatable, because if you can replicate it, it makes it very easy to grow and to systematize your business. All right, the next step is deliver and satisfy. Now, I want to make sure something's very clear before we go on. I'm not just talking about delivering your product, because here's what happens. You know, a lot of people go, oh, thank God, they bought our product. All I have to do is ship it out to them and I'm done. Well, that's called deliver. What I'm talking about is deliver and satisfy. What does that mean? My question for you is, what is your wow? Now, some of you are saying to yourselves, well, wait a minute, Dave, they get my product or service. That's wow enough. No, it's not. Because if you're one of these people and you're the only one that sells your product or service, then you don't need a wow. But if you're one of these people that sells a product or service that lots of other people sell, you better make darn sure you wow me, because if you don't and someone else does, I'm not going to be a customer of yours very long. You know, give you a couple of examples. You know, real simple things. There's a bakery by my house. It's a great deli. Every time you go and buy a dozen bagels there, guess what? They give me 6 bagels for free. Do you think I'm going to buy bagels anywhere else besides this one place? Of course not. There is an online store that I shop from. I try to spend as much money locally as possible, but every so often I like to, you know, buy some stuff online. And every time I buy something from this store, they'll say to me, you know, I'll get an email that says, you know, your product will be there in 5 to 7 days. Never fails. It's always here in 3. Why do you think I constantly shop at this one place? That is the wow. So my question for all of you is, what is your wow? What is that thing that people are going to go, man, am I glad I did business with these people? Holy cow, did I make the right decision? Just because you offer a great product or service doesn't mean I'm going to continue to buy from you. But every time you wow me, you're going to get to a point where you're going to say, I will never shop anywhere ever again. Think about restaurants that you eat at. You know, you go to a restaurant, somebody says, well, how was it? Oh, it was okay. Are you going to go back? Probably not. But say you go somewhere and the food's unbelievable and the service is unbelievable and they give you a free dessert because you're a new customer or blah, 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 whatever. Those are the kind of things that you have to come up with that are going to really wow your customers. Michael, what are some of the things that you do that wow your customers, some of the things that have worked for you in the past?
Well, a number of things. One of the things that we do when someone buys our application and in the selling process when we're converting them, we tell them about this. This is something that we call the orientation meeting. So we actually teach them how to get started in the tool, how to write a system, how to navigate around. And it's a free meeting. It usually takes about an hour. They can have as many people on the call as they like. But what's great about it is that, you know, depending on how good the client is with software, their learning ability, their speed, our consultants will almost always invite them to schedule a second follow-up meeting to answer additional questions, to critique the work that they've done. Additionally, at this point, another set of follow-up emails begins with tutorials that illustrate different systems that are part of our systems library and the Touchstone application. So again, more things that they can use to help them systematize their business. And the tutorial shows them how to download, edit, implement the system. We also do live training. So these are all things that they didn't know about. We do these live trainings. They can jump in anytime they want. Our goal here is to provide a level of service that was way beyond what they expected, what was promised in the sales conversion. You know, we go through sales and we tell them they're going to get this, this, and this, and then we try to deliver more and more. There's a statistic out there, 65% of your customers will leave because of indifference. Indifference. What an amazing statistic that is, Dave. 65%. And I got to believe that almost everybody out there on the call is not just selling their clients one time. They want to keep their clients and sell them more things. So I want to add one other thing, because I heard this on the radio yesterday, Dave, after we spoke yesterday. Amazon, did you hear? They've got this really cool deal called the Prime account. For $79 a year, you can get free shipping on anything you order from Amazon.com. What a wow that is, right? You buy this Prime account, and I was listening to the radio, and you can buy a 700-pound safe from Amazon, and they will ship it free. The cost of shipping that thing was something like $1,200. I mean, it was just amazing to hear that. But another example.
And the best part about that Prime account is they'll ship it to you third day.
I think it's even 2-day, Dave. I think it's now up to 2-day. It's amazing.
Right, so that's the, and it's, I really appreciate you giving that example, because it's a perfect segue into the next step of this. So yes, you want to make sure that you wow your customers, but I want to give you a perfect example of what this next step is. The next step of the lifecycle marketing is upselling your customers. So here's a perfect example. Let me give you an idea of what Michael just said. Michael said that Amazon has this thing called the Prime account. So for $79 a year, you get expedited shipping for free. Well, imagine how many people shop at Amazon. Imagine if they offer that to all of their people, and it's relatively simple. Hey, you're buying stuff from us anyways. How would you like to pay zero money for shipping, okay, and get it, twice as fast, but it's $79. So let's say, for instance, Amazon does this, and for all the people that shop at Amazon, say 1 million people take advantage of this offer. That's another $79 million into their coffers for pretty much very little effort for them. The idea of upselling your customers is selling them something after you've already purchased from them. Perfect example. Men or women, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about clothing. Gentlemen, when was the last time that you ever bought a suit? All of us have to buy a suit at one time or another, for your wedding or for a funeral or for a graduation or something. So you buy a suit. When you buy a suit, they try and sell you a dress shirt, a tie, a pocket square, a belt. You buy socks, everything imaginable that goes with the suit, because once you buy the suit, you need to buy all the other stuff. Ladies, think about the last dress that you bought. Did you just buy the dress? Of course not. You got, a necklace, you got earrings, you got a belt, you got a scarf, you got shoes, you got nylons, you got everything imaginable to go with that. The greatest part about upselling is the effort it takes to upsell your customers is very, very little, but the profit margin is gigantic. You know, there's a place that I go that I buy suits occasionally that right now they're giving suits away. I saw an ad for a suit place yesterday. Buy one, get 3 free. Buy one suit, they'll give you 3 suits for free. But I'll tell you, I guarantee you they're going to charge me full price for any alterations. They're going to charge me full price for any shirts, any ties, all of that stuff. So you have to come up with ways to upsell your customers. I believe the greatest upsell on earth is from McDonald's. When was the last time you went into any fast food place and didn't have somebody say to you, would you like fries with that? Okay, this is a typical upsell, because if not, somebody's going to come in, they're going to buy a 99-cent burger, and they're done. But now they come in and they buy a 99-cent burger, they now buy a 99-cent thing of fries, they now buy a $1.29 large Coke, something like that. That's the upsell. So my question for every one of you on the call is, what are your fries? What can you be upselling? Let me use myself as an example. You know, I've been a professional speaker and trainer for quite some time, and I've had the honor of writing 3 books. So somebody will buy my books. What's my upsell? My books are available on audio CD. My books are available on DVD. So when somebody says, I'd like to buy your books, it's a very natural upsell to say, by the way, did you know that we are also available in audio CD so you can turn your car into a rolling university? 75% of the time they buy the audio CDs. I get full markup on those, and it took no effort. Michael, what are some of the things that you've done as an upsell? What are some of the suggestions you offer to your clients to create more upsells?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, we make it very easy to get started, and then we begin to deliver these this wow. So in the orientation meeting, in the follow-up meetings, in the online tutorials, in the live webinars, the new user experiences what it's like to work with a consultant, someone who can actually help them make it happen. And as you can probably guess, Dave, simply having a tool, I mean, Touchstone's great, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you can completely systematize your business on your own. It's a bit of a shift in thinking, and you actually have to put in some time and effort to do it. And so one of the steps that we do is we have a consultant follow up with the new client after they've had the Touchstone system for 4 to 6 weeks. Now, again, this is automatically a task that gets created, so it doesn't fall through the cracks. And usually after 4 to 6 weeks, it's pretty obvious to the business owner that whether or not they're able to do it on their own. If it is, then we're just checking up on them to see how you doing. You know, are you still? Do you have any questions? So again, it's another customer service call, but it's also this opportunity for them to for us to offer them a consulting package or a systems development package. So we just make it easy for them to get in, and then afterwards we offer these services to make it so that they can actually systematize their business. And it's all real simple. It's all month by month, so they can stop. There's no commitment. It's really, really simple still.
And you make it easy for them to get in your system, but you also make it very simple for them to stay in your system.
Exactly.
Also.
Yeah, everything's month by month.
And you know, that's where the whole idea of upsell comes, is to be able, you want to be able to keep these people in for periods of time so you can, or you know, be able to generate more revenue from them.
Yeah.
So let's get into the last step, because I'm looking at my watch and we're getting close to the end of the hour, so we're going to have to kind of shove a little stuff in here. The last step of this, okay, is getting referrals. Now, some of you are saying, ooh, referrals. I need lots of referrals. Ooh, I really like referrals. So here's what I'd like to do with you. And I asked Michael if I could have permission to do this, because traditionally this isn't the kind of, you know, information that we put out on a call such as this. So what I want to do is I want to share with you our advanced referral strategy. This is something that we have spent hundreds and thousands of dollars developing, and has taken years and years and years of research. And I want to show you what is our advanced referral strategy. You ready? Grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and you might want to sit down because this one's going to shock you a little bit. You ready? You ask for them. That's it. That's the strategy. So much so that I am going to make you a guarantee right now. Every single one of you on this call, I am going to guarantee you that you will double or potentially triple the amount of referrals you bring in the next 30 days if you ask every one of your customers, who do you know that could benefit from our product or service like you are? Ask that question people will give them to you. Your job is to ask. If you don't ask, they're not going to tell you. It's not their job to remember referrals for you, so you've got to be able to ask for them. How do you ask them? Real simple. You can do it by email. You can do it by phone calls. You could do it by thank you cards. You could offer a competition. Come in as the person who refers the most people wins a particular prize. We're doing something like that here. We're giving away $1,000. You could do special events, but probably the best time to ask for referrals is right after you've wowed them. So for instance, Michael, let me use you as the example. Somebody signs up for your system or somebody signs up for your program, and, they buy your program, and, you've included, like, you've given them like an extra free, hour of consulting, or you've given them something, and they're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just did this. Don't you folks think this would be a really good idea? A really good time for Michael to go, by the way, it seems like you're really enjoying our product or service. Who might you know that could benefit from our products or service like you have? It's that simple. All you have to do is ask. Michael, can you give me a couple of experiences you've had on, asking for referrals, or the idea of what you could do to generate more referrals?
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. You sort of you gave me a great introduction. The one thing we sort of throw in there at that point, too, is when we've wowed them, we'll ask them to give us a testimonial, and we record it, and we put some PowerPoint slides. But so now we get these people talking about us, and they're thinking about all this great stuff, and then we say, Chris, can you tell me who you might know that might be interested in this? And we actually, you use the word active or asking. You use the word asking for a referral. Most people, when we ask them how do they sell or how do they get new leads, they say, oh, it's word of mouth, it's referrals, but it's passive. They just wait for it to happen. We have a process for asking. We make it an active referral process. So that's something they can actually download, Dave, from our systems library and put into their system. So it actually makes it active, and we try to get 3 leads with every request. Not just 1. We actually go for 3 every time.
That's great. And I guarantee you, I'm willing to bet the amount of referrals you bring in is incredible because you're doing the one step and you're asking for it.
Yeah, and sometimes we get 5, and sometimes we get 2, and then we follow the process, so it's very consistent.
Exactly. Well, folks, let me end my portion of this. That is the 7 phases of lifecycle marketing: track traffic, capture leads, nurture prospects, convert sales, deliver and satisfy, upsell customers, and get referrals. Michael, I'd like to turn this back over to you because from what I understand, you've talked to Mary about something I can't even believe she's offering.
Yeah.
And I guess you've talked to Mary about something that we're offering for anyone that wants to take advantage of our software, especially today, because I know it's the end of the month. Let me turn this back over to you and let you bring us home.
Yeah, actually, before I do that, I just want to add that marketing and selling is an art form. It's an art form, and it's a science. And as a business owner, you want to be very conscious and very deliberate with your selling system. And my recommendation, as I said before, use Dave's series of 7 steps as a template for an analysis of your sales system. Okay, so what Dave was referring to, it's the end of the month at Infusionsoft, and they have some amazing deals. I mean, we've got an amazing deal for everybody on the call today, but if you really want to take advantage, give Mary a call today or send her an email and get started. And just launch an inquiry because, again, it's the end of the month. You get started with her. She's great. She can answer all of your questions. So I'm sure everybody can see this, but Mary's phone number is 480-499-6798. You can send her an email at mary.mcnamara@infusionsoft.com. This is an incredible tool. I use it here. That's why I invited Dave today to talk about it. Also, if you make a note of this URL, you can actually go to this link, www.bit.ly infusions_BDC. Go there. You can register for a demo. But again, you want to give Mary a call. These are things that are coming up real quickly. Dave, I just want to say thank you very much for coming today and being with me. I really appreciate you taking the time twice. Thank you very much on that.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Michael. Anytime that I can, help somebody understand the whole idea of life cycle marketing and, giving them ways and reasons why they should take a look at our software is, this is what we live for every day because, as I said, every single moment of every day we figure out ways to help small businesses succeed, and this is one of the easiest ways to do it. So I'm thrilled to be here, and thanks again for the opportunity.
Well, it was a pleasure, and I really appreciate that this is a template that you could use even if you don't have a software package. You could do this manually. I mean, the Infusionsoft tool is great because it helps you automate it, but this is just a great way to look at marketing, so I really appreciate you sharing this science that you guys have created. If you're interested, please feel free to contact Mary. She's a great gal. Mary, thank you for being with us. I still have you muted, Mary, so you won't be able to say anything, but I really appreciate you being with us too. And so everyone on the call, Mary's standing by waiting to hear from you, and I really appreciate you being here. And with that, I will say thank you for everything, and we will talk with you soon in our next presentation. Thanks again, Dave.
You're very welcome.
Bye-bye, everybody.